a social media networking site. um, okay. I just wanted to make this video as kind of like a PSA for anybody who doesn't really know how to deal with people or handle situations as far as being friends with somebody who has social anxiety. I am a sufferer of social anxiety. Some of my high school friends would say I was lying when I said that, because I was always the person that you could come to for a hug, for a joke. I would always stand up for people, and if you couldn't order your food because you couldn't talk to somebody on the phone, like a stranger on the phone, I would be the one to be like, hey, give me the phone. Whereas now, I absolutely couldn't do that. I could not pick up a phone and call a stranger. Hell, if somebody calls my phone and my phone, like, it doesn't register in the phone as somebody from my contact list, I won't answer it. I won't answer it, and if they don't leave a voicemail, I get even more paranoid about it. But I just wanted to kind of give a few pointers to people who don't know what to do when it comes to dealing with somebody like that. Especially because sometimes things are hard to deal with from my perspective, or from a person like me's perspective, but it's something that I don't really think about often, is how my friends put up with me. And I'm lucky enough to have friends who stick by me no matter what, and I love them so much. And guys, if you're watching, I don't know what I'd do without you. I really don't. And I mean that every single one of you, like all of my friends, but especially my close group of friends. And that means if I've talked to you or seen you within the last month or two, yeah, you're a close friend of mine. And I love you to pieces, and thank you for putting up with me. But I just wanted to talk about what it's like from both sides of the table, kind of. As far as social anxiety goes, it shows in a few different ways, obviously. There's cognitive, physical, and behavioral. Like, what's the word? Symptoms? Signs? Manifestations? Stuff like that. Like that somebody would show if they have it. Like signs of oh my god, can I speak? Cognitive social anxiety manifestations would be like self-conscious thoughts, fear, low self-esteem, mind games, thoughts of inequality or inadequacy, negative thoughts about yourself, and unrealistic demands on yourself, paranoia. That is generally where majority of my symptoms come from. I suffer from all of those. All of them. As far as behavioral social anxiety manifestations, you can have problems dating, habitual avoidance, fear based on decision making, avoiding meeting new people, avoiding eye contact with strangers, declining to speak up in meetings or like club meetings, stuff like that, and never eating in public. You'd be surprised. A lot of people, that gives them anxiety because they think that people are judging them based off what they're doing, like what they're eating. And just before I go on to physical manifestations, it's not that there's cognitive social anxiety, behavioral social anxiety, physical social anxiety. That's not it. It's more like that's how it manifests in people. You can have all of these symptoms, you can have parts of these symptoms. You still have social anxiety. You are no less of a sufferer if you suffer from only a few of these things. I'm just trying to put out there like what the different manifestations are in people, because I know I suffer from all the cognitive ones but not all the physical or behavioral ones. Get a little personal for me. For behavioral ones, I sometimes have problems when it comes to dating. Most of the time I don't even let my significant other know that I have social anxiety, because if I'm already comfortable talking to them because I'm talking to them at that moment and I've gotten to the point where I can date them, then I don't think they'd necessarily be like, you have social anxiety? Oh, please. Like, it'd be like, what? No, you don't have social anxiety. I've dated not a good number of people. That makes me seem really weird. Oh, that wasn't a good thing to say. I've dated people, and I've talked to them about my social anxiety, and 4 of them understood and really took it well and supported me a lot. So if you think that you can't talk to your partner about your social anxiety, you really can, and I really recommend you do, because at one point it's going to come up and you're not going to know what to do or say, and they're not going to be there to give you the full support that they could if they knew. So that's my little tidbit on that. But problems dating, it really didn't much affect it. I mean, it kind of did, so I'll count it. Habitual avoidance. Yeah, okay, that affects me. And other than that, fear based on decision making. That's bad. If you talk to any of my friends, they will tell you that I'm not a decision maker. I'm not the one you turn to for a decision. No. Avoiding meeting new people, I don't do that. But what I will say is that when I do meet new people, I'm very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not quiet, but I don't go out of my way to be like, wow, friendship. It's like, hi, I'm Kate, nice to meet you. And most of the time when I'm meeting new people, because I've made my friends at school, I'm in a few clubs, so I know everybody in those clubs for the most part. But when I go to meet any of my friends' friends, I'll be like, well, hi, how are you? Like, it's nice to meet you. Like, I've heard a lot about you. And then I'm just like a deer in headlights. And if they talk to me, then I'm like gung-ho, like, I'll talk to you. But I'm not, I'm awkward. I'm very awkward. Like, Bella Swan awkward. Sometimes it's cute. Sometimes I'm Jennifer Lawrence awkward. But most of the time I'm Bella Swan awkward. Okay, so enough of that. Physical manifestations of social anxiety would be blushing, your voice trembling, dry mouth, you're shaking, sweating, twitching, unsteadiness, disorientation, shortness of breath, muscle tension, or a rapid heartbeat. For me, when mostly the physical manifestations of it happen when I'm going to have an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And what happens, my best friend has been there for 2 of them now. The first one she was there for was way worse than the second. But what I do is I will zone out. Like, I'll just stare out. It looks like I'm staring off into space. But what's really going on is I'm very acutely aware of what's happening. I know where everybody is in that room. Even if I cannot see them, I know that they're there. Because I can, it's the weirdest feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but I start zoning out, and my chest tightens up a lot. And it's not, I don't even get shortness of breath, really, I guess. I kind of hyperventilate, but, like, I can control my breathing, in a sense. Like, if you tell me, like, Kate, snap out of it, okay? Breathe. I can take a deep breath if I need to. But mostly I start hyperventilating. I mean, sometimes I have to work up to being able to take a deep breath, but I can. And I normally end up physically getting sick if I don't get moved out of the area that's giving me anxiety or anything like that. Majority of the time, if somebody talks me through it, talks me out of it, I'll be okay. It sounds strange, but, like, I just need somebody who can be in control when I'm not. That's what snaps me out of it, and that's why I'm so grateful for my group of friends and for my closer friends who know what my anxiety is like, because they see me, they assess the situation, they're like, Kate, get your shit together, you're okay, like, all that type of thing, and they know what to do, and I'm so grateful for that. Because if they weren't there, or if they just ignored me, I don't know what it's like, and I don't want to ever find out. Let's just leave it at that. But yeah, so those are the types of things that will happen to somebody who has social anxiety. And for somebody on the other side of the situation, the friend who's with the person having the social anxiety problem, you might not even notice it, because most of the time I know, like, for me, you try to hide it really well, because you don't want people to think, like, your friend group to think, like, oh, let's go to the movies, okay, who do we invite, this person, she gets weird in social situations, should we invite her? That's the thing that makes people with social anxiety worry a lot. It gives them bad paranoia. I know it does for me. It gives me bad paranoia because I don't want people to think of me as any less of a friend or any less of a person willing to have a good time or anything like that, because what you need to realize is not every social situation is a trigger for people. People like me get triggered. Let's see, what triggers me? Pushing a decision on me, like spur of the moment, will make me get really nervous. When I look around a room and I don't see a way out. Like, this happened to me twice, where I was in a really crowded place and I was just curious, like, I was just looking around and I could see the door, but there were so many people that I knew I'd have to fight my way to get to the door. Not like fight them, but like kind of like maneuver, be like, excuse me, sorry, I need to get through. That triggers me hardcore. I can't even handle it. What else? Talking on the phone to people I don't know. That's another trigger for me. Answering the phone when my cell phone doesn't recognize the number, and then they don't leave a voicemail. So those are just examples of triggers. And for people who are trying to help somebody, that can be hard to understand, because for most people it's like, oh, that's literally, those things are nothing. Like, so you can't get to the door, just say excuse me. Or do you even have to leave? No, you don't have to go anywhere. So why are you worried about the door being blocked? Well, I don't know why I'm worried about the door being blocked, but it worries me, so I can't help it. And the real important thing is just understanding. Understanding is the biggest part of the game. And being there, even when you think you cannot take it anymore. Like, this is the third time you've heard their paranoia theory on how like you and all your friends hate them, and you're just hanging out with them because you feel bad, or they think that you're gonna leave and they really don't want you to, and they start crying, and this is the 15th time that they've called you at 3 a.m. over this issue. It's because they trust you. It's because they love you. It's because they don't want to see you go. And I know it's annoying. I know, because before I even had the issue myself, I was on the receiving end of some of that. And now, I don't call people at 3 a.m., but I'm sure they know that I care about them a lot, because I tell them all the time. And I don't know what I'd do without my friends. I really don't. And I fear the day, if it ever were to happen, that they're gonna be like, enough. And I really hope it never comes, because I care about my friends so much. And know that also, it's not like it's not like they can't get help, because there's help out there. Therapy, excuse me. There's also prescriptions for anxiety and paranoia, and I know for me, it helps. There are books also that you can read. I will leave some book recommendations in the little captioning part where I can write. Anywhere I can write, where this video is, wherever I put it, I will put book recommendations for you to read, for them to read. But I just wanted to let both sides of the situation know that there's help out there. There's always going to be that moment where you think it's the end, and you think that there's nothing, like for the person with the anxiety, like there's nothing that you can do to convince them to stay, or there's nothing likable about you, or there's nothing attractive enough about you physically or emotionally or mentally that would let you keep a friend ever. And on the other side, you think that there's nothing you can do to convince the person with anxiety that you love them. And there's nothing that's going to change that. And you don't know what you could say to make them feel better. But let me tell you something. No matter how many times you have to say it, say it. Say you love them. Say you don't know what you would do if they weren't your friend. Say that they're the reason that you get out of bed. Say anything that you can to them to make them know that how strongly you feel. Because you never really know how valuable a friendship is until they see the flaw that makes you the most insecure, and they look at you and say, hey, suck good looking, or they're like this best personality I've ever seen. Like she can get along with anybody. Oh, have you seen so and so today? Like he's looking really great. Hey, come over here, and they'll call you over, and you know what? That's all it takes. It really is. For me, I know that when I'm having one of my paranoid spikes or when I'm having one of my like anxiety downfalls or what have you, I know for me, there's nothing better than getting a message on Facebook or on Tumblr or a tweet or a text or a call, whatever, a communication saying like, "Oh hey, what's up? How are you doing?" Or just like any random sort of conversation, or being like, "Hey, what are you doing on Friday? You want to hang out?" Or anything like that. There's nothing that makes me happier because it's that feeling of being wanted that really is the best cure I've found. And I think that's why for somebody with social anxiety, I really like being social because it drives away all those feelings of low self-esteem and negative thoughts and being self-conscious, because when I feel that way and then I look around at a room full of my friends who are all laughing and smiling, or we're just hanging out watching a movie and we're sitting close or whatever, and like we're just hanging out, there's nothing that makes me feel better than that, because it makes you feel wanted. It makes you feel included. And it's hard to think about those times when you're in one of your pits and it's like nobody wants to hang out with me, nobody wants to do this. They're hanging out together but they didn't invite me. That must mean they hate me. Or like a whole bunch of people are hanging out and they didn't tell you at all. Nothing gets you more paranoid than that, because it's like, oh, okay, well, all my friends are now friends with each other except for me. Don't worry about it. Don't drive yourself crazy. It's okay. Find another group of friends who's not doing anything that night and hang out with them. Not every social situation is going to involve you. And it's okay for that to happen. It is. It'll be okay, I promise. It's happened enough times to me that I realized that, hi, hello world, my friends can hang out without me. You know, it's a weird thing to think about, because a lot of us have this notion that, hi, that's my friend. Why are you hanging out with them? But it'll be okay. And there's always a better time. A better moment will come and you'll feel better, essentially. You'll feel better. And that's not to say, for people who are helping their friends through social anxiety, that's not to say that you have to invite them to everything either. And for people with social anxiety, again, like we just talked about, that's not to say that you're going to be invited to everything, because everybody needs a break. And for me, I know that if I were invited to every social thing that my friends did, I would blow up. Blow up. Explode. I wouldn't know what to do, because I can only... It's not that I can't handle social interaction, because I can. Obviously, I have friends. But one social thing after another can be hard. I know for me, like my one thing that I love in life is to do special effects, stuff like that. That entails meeting people that I don't know, because I need to be able to do a job. I need to do special effects for them, and that's hard to do if you don't know them. But eventually you'll get into like conversation with them, and you'll be okay. And I know it's hard at first to, and like, I'm not telling you to force yourself to do social things all the time, because that's not healthy for you. All you need to do is wind up giving yourself heart palpitations, and you'll never be able to be social again. But like, you just take it steps at a time. Like, say, let's do it in cosplay terms, because I sort of kind of cosplay. My friends cosplay, and they're fantastic. Fantastic. But, say there's a convention, right? And there's a convention, there are 3 of them, one after another, one each weekend, right? And they're each 3 days long. And you and your friends are all really excited. You're gonna go to all 3 of them for all 3 days, because you have the money to do it. And so you sign up, you get your ticket, you're pumped and excited, and you get ready and you go, and oh my god, there are so many people there that you literally cannot look in a single direction and not see a person. What do? Don't panic. You're with people that you know. But what you can do is try to look at a schedule. I know for me, time is everything. I always have to write things down. I make lists. I list things like it's nobody's business. And I keep a planner. I keep a calendar. Because that's one of the things that also sets me off, is when things don't go in the order that they should. I get really nervous about that, because that means that there is no order to things. And that drives me crazy. But, yeah. So you look at the schedule, and you make a list, and you go to places when they're not going to be extremely crowded. And if you want to go to a place that's extremely crowded, stay by your friends. Just stay by your friends, and you'll be okay. Now, if you're on the flip side, and you are bringing along a person with social anxiety, just keep an eye on them. Don't point out to people like they're not your pet. So the worst, I know for my friends, they've never done this to me, but I've seen it happen to people where it's like they go up to, say, they're meeting a friend there, and they have no idea about this person who has social anxiety, right? So they come up to them, and it's like a dog that bites sort of scenario, where it's like, oh, be careful, they have social anxiety, don't try and hug them. Shh, don't do that. Don't do that. Just introduce them, and the person with anxiety will handle the greeting in whatever way they do, because that's the only way that they can do it. So just be normal. That's all. And if they need you, they'll pull you aside and be like, I'm not comfortable being here. Can we just walk a little behind them? Or do you think we can go get water? And even if you don't want to go, at least send somebody who they're comfortable with going. Just go with them, and always be in contact. Just be like, hey, we're going over to the arcade, or we're going to go get pizza. Do you want to come to the food court and meet us? Or something like that. Just stay in contact with them and make sure they're okay. It's like that sort of thing. It's once it's talked about, I find that dealing with social anxiety is a lot easier than people think it is. And it's all everything really is understanding. When you can understand a person's issues from both points of view, then you'll never have a confrontation. You'll never have a problem. There's no reason. Because if you're a person who doesn't have social anxiety and you obviously feel how you feel, but then you look into what it's like to have social anxiety and you're like, wow, that's what that person feels like. It kind of just opens your eyes and you realize, hey, that person's really suffering. And I just snapped at them. I'm an ass. Or on the opposite side, you're a person with social anxiety and you don't understand why your friend can't understand that you cannot talk to that person. You can't talk to them because you don't know them. But you have to think of it from the flip side. And that's kind of understanding that that's not necessarily a normal behavior for a person your age. I've been told that before, and it kind of sounds harsh, I know. But when you're 19, like me, you're expected to be able to handle social interaction. And it's harder for people to understand because we come from a day and age that social interaction is a must. There's literally nothing you can do. You have to talk to people. Whether it's on the computer, on the phone, in person, you have to talk to them. And when you look at it from the flip side, from your friend's point of view, they're just trying to help you. They just want you to have another person to call friend, another person that you can trust. And once you get past that hurdle, sorry, my nose itched. Once you get past that, you're like, wow, I was an ass. I snapped at him for no reason. He just tried to introduce somebody to me. And know that also, this is for both sides, that it's not your fault. Not your fault. If you snap at somebody or if you get frustrated, that's just something that comes with human nature. It just happens. You can't be expected to be perfect all the time. So just prepare yourself. Like for me, I know, speaking to the people with social anxiety again, I know that if I know that I'm going to a place that's full of people who I don't know, I make a game plan where it's like, I'll stick with my friends, stick with your friends, stick with your friends, stick with your friends. You'll be okay, just stick with your friends. And nothing bad has ever happened to me. I mean, I'll get nervous, yeah, because again, can't be perfect. Excuse me. But 99% of the time it works out. And on the flip side, if you know you're going to be hanging out with somebody with social anxiety, just know that what you could come up against. It's not necessarily that it's going to happen every time that somebody's going to have like an attack or what have you, but like you just have to be prepared for what can happen. Yeah, I think that's about it for this ramble because I think I'm starting to talk myself into circles. But I just wanted to add one little thing at the end, and that is to talk to my group of friends who stuck with me through a lot, or even if you haven't known me for that long and you still know about my social anxiety and you're still a friend of mine, I don't know how to thank you. I don't know what I could say, what I could do to show you how much I sincerely care about you and how much I value you. There's nothing that I don't think there's anything that I could say to tell you. Even if somebody offered me the world, all the money in the world, anything I wanted, but I have to trade you away, I wouldn't do it. And that goes for all of my friends, all of my close friends. Seriously. If you've ever brought a smile to my face, thank you. If you've ever seen me have a panic attack, and you're still a friend of mine, thank you. Because, because I don't know where I would be without you. So, that's it. If you have any questions, I probably posted this on a profile of mine on a media site. So, go ahead and shoot me a question. I wish you the best of luck in any situation that you find yourself in. And, yeah, thanks for listening to me.